Winnowing, a process of separating unwanted particles by throwing the mixture in the air and letting the wind blows the unwanted particles away. Our farmers use this method to remove the chaff and dust particles and get only the rice stays on the winnowing basket. You can also use this method with others similar mixtures.
Use of magnets. Magnets are essential in today's electronic technology. Magnets are useful, fun, and even little mysterious. They can repel as well as attract. They are used for a number of purposes katulad na lang sa computer and electronics. Halos lahat ng computers merong magnets na nakalagay sa loob, which is tinutulungan niya yung computer to store data on its hard drive. Sa mga electric powers then magnets that are used in electric generators help convert the mechanical energy into electricity and vice versa. Sa mga bahay din, you may not know or hindi mo napapansin but most of the devices that we use at our home ay may magnet. For example, vacuum cleaners, credit cards, phones, and refrigerators. May sample ako dito. So, may mga kagamitan tayo dito na may bakal, metal, plastic, tsaka ng ballpen. So, yung magnets, yung gamit niya, sineseparate niya yung non-metal sa metal. Ito yung magnet. Sineseparate niya po. Hindi niya nakukuha yung mga plastic, yung mga metal lang po. So, kadalasan na ginagamit ang magnet sa mga junk shop kasi hinihiwalay nila yung metal sa non-metal. Katulad na lang ng mga plastic at mga bote, hinihiwalay nila yon sa mga metal. Kaya mahalaga ang magnet sa pang-araw-araw nating buhay. Yun lang po.
What is evaporation? Evaporation is a technique that is used in separating a mixture, usually a solution of a solvent and a soluble solid. Get a water and put in this tube. Let the water boil. If you continue to heat the water, turns into steam and evaporate.
Filtration technique which an insoluble solid is separated from liquid. For example, a mixture of sand and water. Filtration is used here to remove solid particles from liquid. Various filtering agents are normally used like filtering paper or other materials. This is the filtrated water.
Separating funnel. Separating funnel that is used to separate immiscible liquids. Liquids that do not mix with each other are said to immiscible. Two immiscible liquids, such as oil and water, can be separated by using separating funnel. Material: oil, water, safety pin, plastic bottle, transparent tape, candle, scissor, matchbox, glue, and binding wire. First, align and stick the sticky side of both the tape together. Fold the tape hanggang maging cone. And stick a piece of transparent tape around the cone to retain the shape. cut the cone from the apex. A plastic bottle with cup, use the heated end of the wire to make a hole at the center of the bottle cup. Enlarge the hole using scissor hanggang magkasya yung ginawa nating cone. Insert the cone through the hole, then apply glue around the side of the cone, both inner and outer side of the cup, and let it dry completely. Take the 100 ml of water and 50 ml of oil in a separate container. Now, add the water to the oil container and mix it. Transfer the mixture to the plastic bottle. Invert the setup closing the end of the cone and wait until the liquid separated on their own. Make a hole at the bottom of the plastic bottle using the safety pin. Make sure the cone tip is cut in such a way that it is just enough for the water to flow from the bottle. Collect the water discharged from the bottle in an empty container. You can control the flow of liquid by blocking the hole at the bottom of the plastic bottle. Once the water is completely discharged through the transparent cone, transfer the oil to the other container from the plastic bottle. So this is the water and oil separated by using our separating funnel. Thank you.
Decantation. This is a technique used in separating less dense substance from the denser one. By this process of decantation, the mixture should be left undisturbed. It can be done by simply pouring or scooping this less dense substance. Sample: before cooking rice, you wash it first. I use decantation to separate rice from the water by simply pouring the water and let the rice stay on the cooking pot.
Hand-picking method is used to separate undesirable substances such as small pieces of stones from wet rice and pulses. The food grains containing small pieces of stones are taken in a flat container. The pieces of stones are picked up from the grains by hands, one by one, and thrown away.
What is distillation? Distillation is a process involving the conversion of a liquid into vapor that is subsequently condensed back to liquid form. It is exemplified at its simplest when steam from a kettle becomes deposited as drops of distilled water on a cold surface. In the following video, I will show you the process of distillation.
Another method for separating a component of a mixture is what we call distillation. Distillation is the process of separating components of a mixture based on difference in boiling points. To separate a mixture of liquids, the liquid can be heated to force the components which have different boiling points into a gas phase. The gas is then condensed back to a liquid form and collected. Repeating the process on the collected liquid to improve the purity of the product is called double distillation. As you can see, we have a set of distillation connected to another setup of distillation. Now let us talk about the uses of distillation process. Distillation is used for many commercial processes, such as the production of gasoline, distilled water production, production of alcohol, and a lot more. There are different types of distillation process. First is what we call the simple distillation process. It is used when the boiling points of two liquids are significantly different from each other, or to separate liquids from solids or non-volatile components. Below is an example setup of a simple distillation process. First, a mixture is heated to change the most volatile component from a liquid into a vapor. Second, the vapor rises and passes into a condenser. The condenser is cooled to promote condensation of the vapor, which is then collected. Another type of distillation process is steam distillation. Steam distillation is used to separate heat-sensitive components. On this process, steam is added to the mixture, causing some of it to vaporize. This vapor is cooled and condensed into two liquid fractions. Sometimes, the fractions are collected separately, or they may have different density values, so they separate on their own. Another example of distillation is what we call fractional distillation. Fractional distillation is used when the boiling points of the components of a mixture are close to each other, as determined using Rayold's law. A fractional column is used to separate the components. Use a series of distillation called rectification. Another type of distillation process is what we call vacuum distillation. Vacuum distillation is used to separate components that have high boiling points. This is done by lowering the pressure of the apparatus in order to lower also the boiling points. Vacuum distillation is particularly useful when the normal boiling point exceeds the decomposition temperature of a compound.
Sedimentation. Sedimentation is the tendency for particles in suspension to settle out of the fluid in which they are entrained and come to rest against a barrier. Settling is the falling of suspended particles through the liquid, whereas sedimentation is the termination of the settling process. Example of sedimentation: when you are in a river and you walk into the water, you see that the water color is become dark because of the mud or soil. But afterwards, the water becomes clear again because the soil or mud is going out. So, let's start the experiment. So this is the things that we need to use in our experiment: water, soil, clear glass, and a rod. So guys, we need to start now. We put some mud or soil in a glass. Let's start to put the water. And shake. And wait for a minute, the water becomes clear.
Sieving. A sieve is a tool used for separating solid from liquids or larger pieces of something from smaller pieces. It consists of a metal or plastic ring with a wire or plastic net underneath, which the liquid or smaller pieces pass through. When you sieve a substance, you put it through a sieve. Sieving: sometimes we may wish to prepare a dish with flour. We need to remove impurities in bran that may be present in it. What do? We use a sieve and pour the flour into it. Sieving allows the fine flour particles to pass through the holes of the sieve while the bigger impurities remain on the sieve.